Hey guys, I wanted to do a review of the analytics from my 5-minute power test workout I did. Now I had a bit of a hiccup with the Garmin 520. As you can see on the left hand side of the screen, there's 3 workout profiles for November 16th. The first one has just the warm-up, the second has the first workout, and the third one here has the second workout. So let's take a look at the first one. Now if we go to the bottom of laps here, you'll see lap 3 has 5 minutes and 9 seconds, and that is the first workout. It has an average of 362 watts, 174 for heart rate, 89 for cadence, and the speed is 37 kilometers per hour. Now if we look at more in-depth graph here, or chart, we can compare the power, heart rate, speed, and cadence. And this is useful for seeing how your heart rate reacts to different amounts of power and different amount of time. So if I just drag it right there, you go on the right hand side of the screen, you can see the averages that you would have seen in the bottom of the other screen. And if we go down to the second graph here, we can see how long it takes my heart rate to rise from where I start putting out more power to the top of what it would have reached for the duration of that 5-minute workout. Now you can see here right around 30 seconds would have been at 100 beats per minute. And it was right around there that I started to increase the power, and it was at 55 seconds when I pressed lap, and it would have been 140, and then from there about another just over a minute to reach 170, and then it went a little bit higher, but it pretty much plateaued from that point. And you can take a look at the cadence to kind of figure out what system you're working and how you're at the time what you're using for that workout. So if my cadence is a bit lower, I'm going to be working more on my muscular system. If my cadence is higher, I'll be putting more of an emphasis on my cardiovascular system, aerobic system. So an average of 89 is alright. It probably is more ideal to have it a little bit higher, but like I've felt from riding across Canada earlier this summer, that I've come back with a lot more strength in my legs, and that's probably why I'm currently leaning towards emphasizing more of my strength in my aerobic system. Now if we take a look at the second workout now, let's just take a quick peek at the bottom here. We can take a look at laps. Now this is a bit confusing because it says lap 1 and lap 7 and lap 2 are both over 5 minutes. But if we look at the bottom here, it says L1. I'm not really sure why it says L1 TTE, but it says 5 minutes and the power is 359. Now I remember that is what I saw on my Garmin when I took a look at it afterwards. Now again, if we take a look at the more in-depth workout, more in-depth chart comparing power, heart rate, speed, and cadence, we can take a look at how my body reacts again. Now you'll notice here that it's a steep drop off, and the heart rate and the power start considerably high. Now this would indicate that I probably pressed lap right when I started it, and prior to that I didn't really I hadn't started to work out. So this isn't really good help, because I want to see how long it takes my heart rate to progress and reach its height, so I can see how my body reacts. So the second one is more help than this one. But if I wanted to take another look at the trends here, now you can see these, so you'll be able to see how these workouts stress my systems. So the workout again was on the 16th of November. Now if we look at stress, there's a couple different charts here we can use. If we look at the stress one, the different charts were created by different researchers, and it's interesting just to see how each one tells you that your body's how it's reacting to different workouts. So there's 4 lines here. 2 represent short-term stress, 2 represent long-term stress, and then each of those has an aerobic anaerobic. So there's, as you can see at the bottom, anaerobic short term, aerobic short term, anaerobic long term, and aerobic long term. And in the green here, the anaerobic and short term will always be more affected rapidly, sooner, than the aerobic ones. So that's why you'll see more of a spike in the green than perhaps say the blue or the red. So, and then the second affected, typically the second quickest, would be the aerobic short term, and you can see that has more fluctuations. Now if we look at the 16th, you see that the yellow and the green both progress quite rapidly up there. Now the short terms will typically be affected more quickly right after a workout, but it also does depend on the type of workout that you're doing. So now if we look at the performance, I'll talk a bit more about that in the next video when I look at the 15-minute power test. Now if we look at the performance manager chart here, there's 3 lines. One is basically the acute, short term, chronic is long term, and then the total stress balance. That is basically your fitness level at the time. So this is a tricky balance. This is a chart that you can use for peaking as well as the other one, but this one is a little bit easier to understand. The purple one will be your acute, so this one will rise quickly, drop quickly. The chronic one will rise and drop as well. Now the yellow one is like your fatigue. So if your acute one is high, your fitness will be low, but as that one drops, your fitness will rise. Basically your form will improve, and you'll see right here would have been like, theory to that would have been like a peak right there, though I wouldn't really be in good form, but that is the idea. You want to be careful though, because over time your chronic will decrease, and you want to keep this high while also keeping your form high. And over time, to keep your chronic one high, you have to keep on raising your acute. So it's kind of a cat and mouse game over time. So now if we look at the 16th, November 16th, you'll see here that the purple one, the acute, rose, and the fitness dropped, and also the chronic rose just a little bit. And then again, that'll be a different workout later on, but as that drops, my form improves, and thus I have a higher level of fitness. So hope that was an interesting video for you guys. Wanted to show you that, and hope you learned something just like I did. Thanks for watching. Take care.